and welcome to Behind the Games, Delivered in Glasgow 2026, the podcast, where we're exploring all the behind-the-scenes successes and the challenges in the lead up to one of the world's largest and greatest sporting events. With the eyes of the world on Glasgow in 2026, we'll be getting to know some of the key players and what it takes to put on the greatest show of global proportions. In today's episode, we're exploring careers in major events, and we're going to take a realistic look at the pathways in the industry all the way up to the senior leadership roles. And to tell me all about it, I am delighted to say I'm joined by Giles, who leads the Trivandi Academy, which is focused on building skills and knowledge across the next generation of event professionals, and the Director of Games Services and Workforce Glasgow 2026, Diane McLeod. Thank you both for joining me. Great to see you, ladies. Can I ask, I think probably just to start, where did you begin in the events industry? Ali, we'll come to you first. Where did you begin?
I followed quite a traditional route. I think I was really interested in theatre and was quite good at organising things, and found an event management course and thought, fantastic, that combines those passions. I very quickly realised that the sports events industry was the sort of corner of the industry that I wanted to focus on. And during my university course, I did an exchange programme to Australia and had the opportunity to work on the Melbourne 2006 Commonwealth Games as a volunteer. And it just sparked this
You were
passion.
hooked.
Yeah, I got the event bug. And as a result of just a conversation with somebody, was connected to a company that invited me to work on the Asian Games in 2006. So that was my first paid role. And I suddenly realised that you could make a career out of these major events and travel the world and work with all of these different people from all corners of the world. And it's led me to work in 36 countries. I had the privilege of working on the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Diane and I both worked in Baku together. And yeah, here I am working with Trivandi on the most amazing projects and back in Glasgow for the 2026.
I mean, what an incredible journey. That is absolutely exceptional in itself, being able to work on so many different amazing projects. And I like that moment, because I think for people to listen to this and be inspired that you can go into this is a very viable career route, and that's exciting. We'll come to you, Diane, because I'd love to hear your journey as well. It sounds like you guys have crossed paths as well already.
I mean, I might have a similar journey to Ali. I went to school for sport and recreation and kind of had aspirations of working in leisure centres and that kind of sporting. And in 2009, caught wind that the 2010 Olympic Games were in Vancouver, my home city. And I thought, actually, that would be pretty cool to be involved in that. And so I applied to be a volunteer. And I was selected to work at one of their test events, the figure skating test events. And I met an individual who was working there that I went to college with. And he said, well, actually, you could get a job in this. I thought, well, that would be quite good.
Hang on a minute. Sounds great.
And just, a couple of weeks later, an opportunity came up and I took it. And I also got the bug for the games. And I thought, actually, this would be pretty cool to do that. And I then went on to work in London for the 2012 Olympic Games there. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I came up to Glasgow for the Commonwealth Games in 2014 and then over to Baku where Al and I worked together. And it's just kind of gone from there, and you just kind of get opportunities after opportunities. And it's been amazing to see the possibilities or the places that you can go with this job. So it's been great to kind of evolve and grow into the position I am now here at Glasgow.
I mean, you can sense the passion from both of you, which is like you really love your job, you love the industry, and it is something that's quite incredible. It sounds quite glamorous, travelling the world, but I'd imagine there's a lot of hard work involved in the sort of the world of global events. Yeah, Ali, it's not all sort of fun and games, I suppose. Or it is. It is.
I think we all...
Brilliant.
We're a certain breed, aren't we, as event professionals, and we love the exhilaration of it and the
it's the buzz of it, I suppose. People want to be part of it. There's
we
a social
thrive
element
on
to it as well,
and
isn't
the
there?
social, absolutely. The camaraderie that is built as a result of working, particularly in a games environment where you are working to that fixed deadline under a lot of pressure, but you all come together as a team and you've got that common goal, and the best of friendships are made out of it.
I think you're doing everything in such a condensed, fast-paced amount of time, and that kind of speeds up those relationships and those friendships. So I do agree. I think it's a great way to travel and see the world. I think it is hard to uproot your life every couple of years and, pack up your belongings into a couple of suitcases and move to the next project. But I think the good thing about the events industry is that there's always somebody working on that next project that you do know. And so it's not like you're going into it completely alone. You do have a network, which is quite strong, which is great.
Oh, yeah. I think the bonds seem to be the thing that really sort of, I suppose, forged so beautifully in those high pressure environments. What kind of person do you think does thrive in this industry then? Again, if someone's like looking at the job and they're thinking, is that something I'd like to get into? Who would you recommend gets involved? Is there something there for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there is something there for everybody. You might not know that the events industry has your niche. You might be, working in a hotel, but actually you can come work in an accommodation team, or you might be working in marketing and think, well, I need to go down to traditional marketing, but we've got those teams as well. So actually there is a role for kind of anybody in any skill set. It's kind of not linear, although we've got a more traditional route into the events industry. It doesn't have to always be that way. Some people I've worked with have come in and they've done this, your role that you've done for 10 years and thought, well, actually, let's try that. And now they've got the bug as well, and they've kind of continued on doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it does appreciate skills from across the board as well, because these large scale events are really something that require a whole host of different skills, Ali.
Absolutely. I mean, the organising committee for the Games this time will be over 700.
Yeah.
And other multisport games are in the thousands. You've got everything from a ceremonies performer to a cleaning and catering and waste expert to somebody that's leading on logistics, accreditation. So it takes all sorts. I definitely agree that there's something for everybody within that workforce structure. And I think the other important thing to remember is that, we've just talked about the challenges of uprooting your life and working on these intense periods. But there's lots of roles that are involved in the early planning and strategy stages. And it doesn't always mean that you have to be in constant high pressure environments. There's lots of scope to get involved. And as Diane said, there's lots of different routes into it as well, whether it's through formal education, whether it's sidestepping from another industry with a skill set that is specific to one of the functional areas, whether it's just starting at the bottom and working your way up. It's a really lovely team actually to have that blend of really experienced professionals and the newcomers to the games world. And I think we all feel quite passionate about inspiring the newbies as well.
Absolutely. And talking about inspiring and pathways as well, Trivandi Academy is something that has been quite incredible in doing that and sort of training the next generation of events professionals. Can you tell us a wee bit more about the academy itself, Ali?
We really recognised a need to professionalise the industry. Yes, there are traditional routes, as we've already said, but there's lots of people that enter the industry through lots of different routes. Quite often, the organising committees are there for a number of years, whether it's a 4-year cycle or, increasingly we're seeing longer periods of time. But at the end of that event, that organising committee dissolves and all of that information and that knowledge disappears. The knowledge transfer programs that are put in place are fairly effective, but we wanted to improve that knowledge transfer. And we also recognise that as a professional, you might go from one contract to the next. You may have very good support whilst you're working in that contract, but then you start in a new organising committee and you don't have the same programme in place. So in order to advance your career and improve your professional skills, actually we need a more unified approach across the industry. And, Trivandi Academy isn't going to achieve that all by ourselves. We absolutely work in partnership with all of the different organisations across the ecosystem. But we really wanted to support professionals as they advance, help them with managerial and leadership skills, but also, as you say, inspire the next generation and provide that introductory foundational knowledge as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's so much knowledge within Trivandi obviously already there, so if you can tap into that and provide sort of a baseline for people and they know a pathway how to make it into an industry that can seem quite daunting though, because I think you see these big events, you see people like you and you go, I could never do that, but to show people that there is a way is an amazing thing. Has that been similar in the Glasgow 2026 team, because people have come from across the board, haven't they, to work on these games?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, having Trivandi as our delivery partner, it's been really great to be able to offer out Trivandi Academy. So not, they're already here working on the games, but actually to be able to take that course and then say that they've got that to then take it forward, I think is fantastic to be able to offer that to our staff across the board. So it's been really a great uptake, I think, from our teams on the ground.
But in terms, just building that career, I suppose, because people have come in from different industries to work on the games this year. There is that opportunity for growth, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And Glasgow as a city is really great at hosting other major events. So, from Glasgow 2014, kind of post that, they've held numerous major events like COP26, the European Championships in 2018. So they've been able to, I guess, maintain the major events within the city and therefore kind of keeping that talent within the city and within the industry and watching them kind of grow and evolve as well.
And you obviously are involved with a lot of big teams as well, Diane. How do you develop people to make sure that they sort of work on their talents and they progress throughout this games and this whole process? Because it can be quite overwhelming chaos for something like this. Very organised chaos, I hasten to add. But something when it all comes together and there's a lot going on and it's constant, it's high energy, that can be quite overwhelming for someone who hasn't worked in that environment before. How do you help people progress through that?
Yeah, I think as kind of a senior leader, that's kind of your responsibilities to really make sure that the team are taking as much away from these games and this opportunity that they've got as possible to really take everything on, say yes to things, really expand their knowledge base and their experience so that they can take that on to the next games or the next event that they want to work on. So I think it's really important to encourage them to take the time to do the learning that's provided to them, to encourage them to not get lost in their day-to-day and really focus on what's important to them. What do they want to get out of their games time experience and kind of be able to foster that and support them in that journey. I think that's really important to do. Yeah,
absolutely. That support is quite key, isn't it? But what kind of personality traits do you think make somebody good in the sort of the international games events industry? Ali, what do you think? What kind of things really stand out for you that you've seen, I suppose, across all your experience?
Definitely a can-do attitude. I think we've talked on previously on the other podcasts about the problem-solving ability. We are all problem solvers. We think 2 steps ahead and try to foresee what those issues could be before they even happen. I think resilience and agility, it's a constantly changing environment. Nothing stays the same. The best plans can be laid, but something will happen, and being able to respond to that and be calm under that pressure, I think those are the qualities that we're looking for.
Would you agree with that, Diane?
Yeah, absolutely. All of those. And I think also it's important to, be proactive and take initiative and kind of think a few steps ahead of yourself, I think is really important as well as being calm, being able to think on your feet. I suppose you can have a flawless plan, but if you don't think for emergencies or worst case scenario, then that doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah, it doesn't all pay off. But I think coming back to kind of what you've just both touched on there is about that real world experience and that learning to be able to pivot and adapt. Trivandi Academy isn't about sitting down with books, is it, and learning the sort of theory. It's about seeing it in practice and learning how to actually do it in a real world scenario, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've developed e-learning content to provide the fundamentals, but we really are focusing on experiential learning and giving opportunities to newcomers and existing professionals to gain experiences in new areas. We had a really successful program last year where we took 7 Saudi nationals across to the World Expo in Osaka, and we gave them a 2-week placement where they got to experience working within 2 of the pavilions that Trivandi were operating. And that is just priceless. You know, the exposure that they get in those live environments, working with different people from all around the world, and the different pressures that they're working under. It's so valuable, and it's something that we've then brought to Glasgow 2026. So we are facilitating 26 secondment places for event professionals from our partner organisations around the world. And we're really looking forward to welcoming them to Glasgow in July. And they will be part of our EDP team. And then they get to take that knowledge back to their organisations, and the legacy lives on.
I mean, that's massive. Just actually seeing how it all works, you just learn so much more being in the moment. But in terms of the industry, it is something I think that people maybe are a wee bit scared of, because a lot of it's short-term contracts as well, especially when you're learning and you're building up. It might be like that one opportunity, like you said, here's a paid opportunity at one Games, and then you're like, well, how do you build on that? How do you continue to make sure that you have a career from that? Because it can be quite scary. I'll come to you first, Diane.
Yeah, absolutely. It is contract-based, but I think it's the relationships that you build when you're working on these events. It's building those positive relationships. There's always somebody at the next event that you want to work on that you might know, or somebody you know. So it was really making sure that you network with the individuals that you work with, and you build a good, I guess, a personal reputation for yourselves. So if somebody thinks, oh, I've got this job, and they'll think, actually, I know the best person for that.
I want Diane and the team.
Exactly,
get her in, give her a call.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really important.
Yeah. Is the short-term contract thing something that people should be wary of or a wee bit scared of, Ali? Or is it something that you can kind of learn quite a lot in an intense period of time, can you?
Exactly, as you've just said. Yeah, the learning opportunity within that intense period is like nothing you will get in a conventional job, as I would call it. Is
it something that you think that you can really sort of develop those skills quickly and then move on to something else? Is there usually something else going on? Because we're in, obviously, it's a global marketplace, I suppose, once you're in the world of events. Is that fair to say?
There are a whole host of different events that you can get involved with. So those that have worked on the Glasgow Games this year don't necessarily need to stay in sport. There's other opportunities in World Expos or government summits or the MICE sector. There's always events going on in lots of different locations. And most importantly, the skills are really transferable. Strong communication skills, strong organisational skills, project management, budget management, and the interpersonal skills as well can be transferred to so many other areas and industries.
Yeah, absolutely. Those skills do really cross borders between industries, and you said as genres. I do need to ask though, what is MICE? Because I'm just imagining mice running around now, and I don't think that's got anything to do with it.
Incentive travel and conference and exhibitions.
There we go. See, I feel like there's people at home thinking you can work with mice. That's not what I was expecting. But that is the beauty of being part of the events industry, of course. And if people do want to work on future games, and we've kind of covered a bit about this in terms of like that tenacity and those sort of transferable skills, but what would you recommend that they do? Because I feel like both of you started in volunteering roles. Yeah. Is that a good way to maybe get your foot in the door? I
think absolutely. I think it's a great way to get in, to understand what's available, what are the different functional areas that you might be interested in, to really get a broader understanding of what's involved to deliver an event like that. And then therefore you can then kind of hone in on what you're really interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say the same, Ali, then? Just sort of kind of get in there and learn as much as you can?
Internships, work placements, observations, if you can get in and shadow somebody, just as much exposure as you can get. There's also lots of great staffing agencies in the events industry that would, again, just give you that understanding of how these events are put together, the networks that are available, and just, get stuck in.
Absolutely, because obviously When you're talking about maybe career progression, a lot of time you maybe think of sort of younger students or younger people, but actually it can be something that you can kind of pivot into at any time of your career because there are so many transferable skills from different industries. Is that, so it's not sort of, oh, you're too old now or you've worked somewhere else. You can still get involved in events, do you think, Diane?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think opportunities are available. If you can bring something, a specific skill set to the games, you can absolutely be involved, You can
still come along and get involved, which is important to definitely highlight. But you, I think, did speak to some students last year at Stirling University as well, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
How important do you think it is for young people to hear from people who are in the industry, like yourself, going in and speaking and saying, this is a possibility, you can dream to do this kind of job?
I think it's so important. And again, something similar to Trivandi Academy, it's showing that it is a career and it is possible to do this. Even I went to school and I didn't know that this was an option, that you could travel the world working on major events or events in general. So I think it's just saying that this is a possibility and you can do it, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and it's not even just a possibility, it's an incredible possibility, an incredible opportunity. I mean, would that be the same for you if you were talking to somebody, maybe like students there at one of the universities? What would you say to them, Ali, in terms of getting stuck in? Why should they go into the world of events? What makes it so special?
Definitely the people. As I said, you'd be working with people that have come from all walks of life, with completely different skill sets, maybe from all international locations, and they all come together to deliver amazing things. And the friendships that you build from that,
You must have very busy like Instagram, Facebook friendship groups. You've got like holidays to take around the world, staying with pals.
You can go anywhere in the world. You've got a friend, which is great.
I mean, you're ticking a lot of boxes here for me. That sounds incredible. Have there been moments in your own personal careers that it's kind of been a pinch me moment, a kind of like, I can't believe this has happened? What do you think, Diane? Is there anything that stands out for you?
I mean, I think that every city, every country that you go to, and every event has its own unique thing. So I don't know if I could pick one. Working at home games in Vancouver, again, is very special. Working on very challenging ones. I was in Ashgabat for the 5th Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games, and I think it was the end, and it was a challenging project, but you finished and you looked around at the team that you delivered, and it was a bit of a, I feel quite proud to be a part of that. But I think it's the celebration with your team and the people that you kind of achieve that with. That's been great.
Yeah, that's the beauty, isn't it? I suppose you're always working towards that goal, and that goal is always realised because the event happens and you actually get there, and that kind of must be quite satisfying. Has there been a pinch me moment for you, Ali? What do you reckon?
Similar in terms of it being a home games. I would say London 2012, I was the venue producer at Eton Dorney for the rowing and canoe sprint. And we had the first British gold medal. And if you remember, there were 10,000 spectators all on one side of the bank. And we queued the medal ceremony, and hearing the crowd singing the British anthem across the water. It was so impactful. It still gives me goosebumps now. It was really special.
Yeah, there's just, that's the beauty of these kind of events, isn't it? There's those standout moments. What are you most looking forward to with the Glasgow Games? Because they're just around the corner now, and you've been both working so hard on delivering what is going to be a very special 11 days.
I think it's being a part of these games, you're changing the blueprint a bit. You're being able to think differently, okay, that's the way we've used to it, but actually, what can we do differently? So I think it's being involved in that change, that movement for future host cities to be involved in. I think it's been a short amount of time that we've got a smaller budget, but to actually see what we're going to be able to deliver in the amount of time that we've had with the resources that we've got, I think it's going to be something to be proud of.
Yeah, is that something that you've been impressed with, the sort of timescale that everything's happened in? Because again, you've both got so much experience across the games. Like, is it something you're like, wow, this is something that hopefully will go on to future games and inspire what is possible in sustainability and timeframes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, looking at what the concept was to what we're delivering, I think the constant move or willingness to improve and enhance has kind of been evident throughout. So I think that will be great to see where we've kind of landed for these games, and how we've been able to enhance the athlete experience, get the volunteers on board, and really just see how we can evolve it in a more sustainable way for these games.
Absolutely. And what are you looking forward to, do you think, Ali, for the games?
Just to add to that, really, I think it's the perfect illustration of who event professionals are, that you take on a challenge and you prove to the whole of the major events industry that, yes, we can do it. And it is more sustainable. It's on a smaller budget. And I think it is going to pave the way for many events around the world. So, yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see it.
That will feel really good when that all comes off, it all comes together. We mic drop moment.
Exactly.
Some very happy but slightly smug faces. I told you we could do it. Amazing. Both so inspiring. I think your personal journeys, your professional journeys to where you are now is incredible. I just want to finish off with one kind of final, I suppose, moment of what would you say to anyone watching this podcast, listening in, who's maybe not managed to get themselves involved in these games? How do they go forward? How do they get a job? And how do they maybe get involved with the academy? How do they get into the events world? I'll come to you first, Ali.
Definitely looking for that live experience. There's some fantastic events coming to Glasgow very, very soon, with the Tour de France and the Open and the Euros coming up. But there's also fantastic venues here that have got a whole range of different events that are on a regular cycle. So getting that experience, and that goes for anybody in different locations as well. Finding or building your network, as Diane said before, is really important. Finding a mentor maybe, and just exploring the different areas of the industry and what interests you most.
Very wise words indeed. And Diane, do you want to have anything to add to that, just in people listening?
I think networking, reach out to people if you have questions. We're a very open, friendly bunch of people, willing to give advice or support. And as Ali said, I think there are tons of local events that are happening regularly. And I think that's one thing that Post Glasgow for the legacy for our volunteers to kind of push out to those organisations as well. But you can also start in those organisations and then kind of make your way into the major events world.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant, very wise words and very inspirational, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Both of you, good luck with the games going forward. Exciting times ahead. And thank you so much to you for listening in to Behind the Games.